Okay, so this is welcome to Saints Book Club. I want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me, because we are going to be doing this across my page, Jordan Stevens, and of course the Saints and Citizen page, Saint and Citizen, not Saints. And this is going to be a collaboration that's going to bring me a lot of joy. They are providing me with a space and encouraging me to do my first lives. Are you the Rizzle Kicks guy? Yes, I am the Rizzle Kicks guy. I'm going to be talking with you guys about books that have brought me joy, books that have inspired me, and books I'm currently reading. Eventually, the hope is that we'll be building up enough of a community and a scene that we will start reading the books together. You guys can make me recommendations on watching. Oh, sorry, I'm so distracting looking at all the comments while I'm doing this. Oh, he bought The Prophet because of me. Oh my God. Right, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, sorry, The Prophet's a book by Khalil Gibran. It's amazing. So yeah, the idea is that once we start engaging more, we can talk to each other. You can feed back on like some of the books that I talk about, or like whether or not you like them, book recommendations, and then the dream scenario is that we might even read these books together and then comment on these together. So ADHD plus these comments equals focus disaster, 100%. But I'm here, I'm switched on, I'm ready, okay? But the mic will work next time. I vow to sort this mic out, man. That has upset me. It looked cool, it looked all professional. So the reason why I, Jordan Stevens, am doing a book club with Saint and Citizen is because I am an author. I actually forgot to bring one of my books with me because I'm not currently in England, but I'm an author of technically 3 books. I've written 2 kids' books. One called The Missing Piece, which was nominated for Waterstone's Children's Prize, which is a vibe. Second one called See For Yourself. And I've also got a book out called Avoidance, Drugs, Heartbreak and Dogs, which was about a breakup I went through years ago. And it's done, there's enough of a response to encourage me to write more. I want to write more anyway, because I love words. I really love words, and I've been doing little episodes on my socials about words, and I think that might even be what attracted these guys to want to work with me. And I love Saint and Citizen and what they do. So that's me. For those of you who don't know me, oh my God, my mind. For those of you who don't know me, that's me. I'm somebody who's always worked with words. Even when I was a young pop star in the UK, I should say that too, sorry. In the UK, I was a pop star at 19, went on like a kind of 5-year run. It was a lot, took a break, still making music, but in that break, I think I started to reconnect more to my love for words generally. Still releasing music, still performing, but words I adore. And it was even the writing of the words that I loved, even as a young man. I don't think my use of words was as well-rounded when I was a teenager. I was trying my best. I also, and this is really important, I have always struggled to read. So I have only recently got good. I've only recently become more of a frequent reader. It pains me to say it because, there are, I'm sure there's other alternatives to a Kindle, but this has actually helped me read a little bit. It's such a good invention. I'm sure there's other versions, but, I get encouraged by knowing how much time is left in a chapter, etc. However, there is nothing that beats the smell of a new book and the feeling of a new book if you're holding it and the pages, and really the completion of reading a physical book. I don't think anything can surpass that. The practicality of having multiple books is helpful. However, I must say this. If you do love books and you know exactly what book you want, and thank you, D, I love that comment, and you really want to read a book and you know exactly what book you want to read, I would really strongly recommend you go to your local bookshop and you ask that bookshop to order you in your book. We have to keep bookshops alive. We have to keep the book market, the book world on its feet, even though there are, other options available. In my opinion, electronic books should be super, super expensive. They shouldn't be cheaper. We shouldn't be like trying to put independent bookshops out of business. What was it saying? Oh, what's this on my head? Crazy. I didn't think I could do that. Whose fan club do they want me to join? So yeah, so that's my advice. Yeah, so I've been helped by the electronic books, and like encouraging me to read, and knowing how much of a book is left. But there's nothing that can beat that physical experience. And like I said, if I could legislate for the book reading world, I would put a massive premium on electronic books. I know that's mad, but just because we should pay more for the ease, not less. Anyway, so that's a bit about me. And yes, Fox Red Ted, what books am I we talking about today? I love this energy from all of you lot. This is actually a dream situation. Firstly, I didn't think anybody would actually log on to the live on this one, because we're going to be like making clips of it and stuff. And people have been telling me to stream for a long time, and I've actually just not got around to it. So, how did I pick this book? That's what I want to talk about, right? So this book that we're reading, well, no, we're not reading, sorry. You don't have to have read this, but that I'm discussing, and then hopefully you'll read afterwards. This book is called Black Buddhists and the Black Radical Tradition, the Practice of Stillness. What's the long title of this? Hold on. The Practice of Stillness in the Movement for Liberation by Rima Vesely-Flad, right? Big, strong recommendation, this book. Maybe I should have put a picture of this book up. I can't actually. But how I arrived at this book is important, I think, because one of the hardest aspects of reading is knowing what to read, okay? Shaun the Sheep, we've gone past that as a controversy, sorry. One of the hardest things is knowing what to read, because loads of people recommend you books. Obviously, there's a book chart, which isn't always a reflection of the book that you should read. And sometimes, you pick up a book, you read a couple of chapters, and you're not into it, right? And I am personally of the stance that there should be no shame with that. If you pick up a book and you're not really feeling it, let me move this in a little bit. If you pick up a book and you're not really feeling it, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Sometimes you've got to put it down and you pick it up another time. Sometimes you never pick it up again. But the main thing I want to be clear on is there's no shame in not getting into something. There's no shame, mate, TikTok is wild. There's no shame in not getting into something straight away. Take your time. Reading should be pleasurable. But I do find often the beginning of books are tough because, you have to engage with a whole new world, a whole new language, a new voice, and you have to get to know the characters, and sometimes that takes time. But like literally all things in life, if you take the time to engage with a book, the reward is phenomenal. The feeling after having read a book is like no other, because you've literally put in time and effort, and you're rewarded for that time and effort. It's not fast food, right? We have to take our time. We got to cook this. It's just home cooking. I found this book because a friend of mine came to my birthday. Oh, I'm supposed to put a comment here, sorry, let me put a comment here and pin it to the top. Wait, what's the comment I'm supposed to put here? Okay, hold on, let me put this. Saints Book Club. Oh, let's just comment one thing. Oh my God, how do I do? Episode 1. Guys, I'm just winging this. I'm trying to put the title of the book up in the comments so that everyone knows. This is a long title. The Black Radical Tradition. Okay, now, man. Posted by Jordan. Okay. And then, how do I pin this? All right, and then I can pin this, no? Pin comment. Boom. Oh my God, I'm a pro. Okay, cool, sweet. So I found this because my mate came to my birthday and he recommended me a different book. He was trying to, for my birthday, he gave me a book on, I think, about Croydon, the history of Croydon. That sounds so dry when I say it, but I mean, he tells me it's fascinating. And then I asked him what he was reading, and he said, Black Buddhist and the Black Radical tradition. So I looked it up, and I had this feeling, right? I had this feeling of I would like to, like that was in keeping with stuff I was interested in at the time, right? I've been to Asia twice. I went to Thailand and I went to Sri Lanka, and Southeast Asia particularly is very Buddhist. Sri Lanka is mostly Buddhist. There's a lot of Buddhism in Thailand, and I find Buddhism fascinating. I'm not a Buddhist, and I'm definitely agnostic. I believe that there's like a spirit or a collective unconscious or whatever people want to call it. I know some people call it God. But I've been interested in Buddhism because of there are so many like Buddhist practices, I guess, that we bring over to the West and remarket in a different way. Meditation is something that we know brings us peace, but we don't necessarily associate it always with Buddhism. Some people do. I've actually spoken before with someone who's Christian who believes that it's disrespectful for them to meditate. But the concept of being still, I think, runs across most religions. I just find Buddhism's quite fascinating. And there's something about being at part of a greater thing, like your body is part of something, extends past you. Anyway, there's loads of little elements around Buddhism that I find interesting, so I wanted to lean into it, and I've got some family who have practiced Buddhism before. So when I saw the Black Buddhists, this was interesting to me because Buddhism is ableist to hot take. Buddhism is ableist to those with ADHD. That isn't true, Imi. I don't think. The whole reason why it could be powerful for people with ADHD is because it gives us a vehicle. Look, let me be clear. Meditation is hard for people with busy minds, like myself. I'm not very good at meditating, but I am fascinated about what's behind it. And also there's science coming out that proves that being still, breathing, trying to separate ourselves from our thoughts is really good for our body. It's good for our cells. There's a real rootedness in this thing. So yes, it's difficult, but it's not, I wouldn't say ableist for ADHD. I wouldn't associate blackness with Buddhism as much as I'd like to. I do know Black Buddhists, of course, but I don't know how integrated Buddhism is into Black society as much as Christianity is, for example. It's not like as or Islam. I can, in my head, I associate that more, whereas Buddhism, because maybe perhaps it's seen as a little more fringe, the idea of there being a through line or there being a whole community and scene of Black Buddhists that are applying Buddhist teaching into their experience of reality, which will definitely be different, especially, this writer is based in America, so that'll be a very specific experience. But that's fascinating to me. How does Buddhism intersect with Blackness, or how people experience their race in various cultures? And is Buddhism accepting of all races and classes? I'm assuming, I'm pretty positive it is, but what does that mean in practice? I wanted to read somebody's take on that. I can't give advice on meditation, unfortunately, because like I said, I'm actually not great at meditation, but I am great at reading about Buddhism because I'm leaning towards it. It's a gradual process. Okay, wow, I've spoken so much already, but I'm just so fascinated by these comments. Also, I wonder in future if I have to just see my own face when I do this live. I'm really not bothered about seeing my own face. It's crazy. Okay, wait, how do I keep on this? So what I want to do is I want to talk about now some sections that resonated with me in the book. But don't ask me political questions right now. Oh, this is cool. This is a cool point. Someone here says, meditation for me can only be doing walking with nothing but the walk, no music, nothing. That's cool. Oh, hey, Celeste. Yes. What's going on, Celeste? That's a really good point, guys. For those interested, meditation doesn't always have to just be sat quiet and still and completely still. There is stillness that can be found in other things. That's actually a really good point, and I'm sure Buddhists agree. You can find meditation in football. You can find meditation in listening to music. Because somewhere where the body, the nervous system calms, we feel connected to something outside of just our own ego thoughts, like constantly thinking. And it could be various ways. Meditation for me has been deactivating my Instagram. I mean, I would support that, but we are going to do some cut downs of this live and post it on there. So, the sound of water. Oh my God, it was raining here. So I'm in Rio right now, and I think it's winter here. You wouldn't tell because I'm in a t-shirt. That's the nature of this. But oh, why is the pin dropped, man? What? Is that like a setting? I need some help, guys. It was raining really heavy last night. It's that kind of season right now in Rio. And I went to sleep like that. I was gone. I find it difficult to practice stillness in the face of systemic oppression. Well, this is what the book's about. Okay, wait, let me put this back in the book because I think this can be super helpful. If anybody does like what I'm about to say to you, then this will help. I've just got to do this pin again. I don't know. Episode 1. Black Buddhists and the Black Radical. I'm honestly buzzing by how many of you guys are logging on. Honestly, I didn't expect this. We're looking to just build the gang. So make sure if you have enjoyed this live that I don't know what you can do to like spread the message. Can you like share the live or tell other people about the live? Join the club. I'm sure there'll be opportunities for us to engage afterwards. Okay. Right, where is this? Okay. Pin. Under review. How do I keep this? No. Wait. Okay, cool. Why is it only pinned for a minute? How do I change this? Someone help me. More chat settings. Allow comments. Allow star comments. Dude. Why can't I just keep the pin? This is wild. Why can't I just keep the pin on the... It's like counting down. It's just freaking me out. You work for TikTok. Tell me then. Okay, I don't know how to keep this pin up, man. This pin's about to disappear in 15 seconds. That's traumatic. Okay, cool. All right, anyway, let me go into this book. Someone's gonna have to tell me how to keep this pin up. Okay, someone else write that need a mod to do it every minute. Don't lie. Who wants to be in a mod? All right. Okay, cool. Anyway, right, let me talk about this. So this is one bit that I really liked. Okay, so one part of this that I thought was really fascinating is oh, that's cute. Someone did that. All right, Brad. Catch you soon. Thank you for being part of this. Listen, if any of you guys need to jump off at any point, there's no stress. I'm gonna save this, although I'm worried that I'm gonna mess that up, and then you guys can watch it back if you don't have time right now. And also, this is going to get a lot smoother as the months go on. This is the first ep. So anyway, so in this book, this is quite far into, this is halfway through the book, is one of the moments that stood out to me because it's something that's particularly, I'm particularly fascinated by. So the reason why Buddhism is interesting to me is because there's a history within Buddhism, or versions of Buddhism that extend into spiritual relationships around intimacy and sex. So there is like history in the roots of Buddhism and like surrounding practices like Taoism. There's a history of a different way that we look at intimacy, touch, connection. Life force is the phrase that is used quite a lot, whereas the worry I have is that in the West especially, we have just perverted the idea of touch and connection and intimacy, and we forget that a lot of these beliefs have deep spiritual roots. And there's actually there's a section in this halfway through the book, and it's called Sensuality and Insight in Contemporary Black Writings. And this is the Dharma of Audre Lorde and James Baldwin. If you guys aren't aware of Audre Lorde and James Baldwin, these are two incredible black thinkers, huge parts of raising the consciousness of the community. They have their snippets of them speaking will go viral every now and again. James Baldwin, especially, Audre Lorde does have like a recording of her actually discussing one of her papers, the paper they discuss in this, about erotic power. A lot of people recommend that I listen to her say it as well as read it. In this book, they highlight Audre Lorde and James Baldwin, but what I love is that this writer, has drawn parallels between how James Baldwin and Audre Lorde talk about sensuality, and basically make the suggestion that they are channeling a Buddhist energy without realizing. It says the Dharma of Audre Lorde and James Baldwin. They are taking what they've learned about Buddhism and they're putting it into the context of famous writing from two of the greatest thinkers in recent history. So the reason why is, so it says here, look, there exists, oh shit, I've just lost it. All right. There exists a precedent in Buddhism, then, for engaging the female form in the Mahayana and Vajrayana traditions, and for manifesting sensual energy within the Vajrayana tradition. I'm probably messing that word up quite extensively. Similarly, an honouring of the female form and of erotic energy can be seen in the pivotal essays of black feminist poet Audre Lorde. Similarly, sensual energy is embraced by black essayist and novelist James Baldwin. In short, while not self-identified Dharma practitioners, these writers articulate teachings that point to the experience of direct insight as well as embodied sensual energies. In this way, they can be seen as articulating the Dharma, and indeed, as will be discussed below, many black Buddhist teachers draw upon Lorde and Baldwin to elaborate their teachings of the Dharma. I think that's amazing. I genuinely think that's incredible for this person to be able to listen and watch two incredible thinkers and be able to find parallels in a world that they didn't necessarily even realize they were becoming part of. They highlight here that in this space, or in these Buddhist beliefs, the writer believes that there's a respect for the female form, whereas you could argue, am I missing an opportunity to pin this? Yeah. Whereas you can argue that there are other elements of other religions and beliefs or societal structures that would suppress or oppress the female form, and certainly the female relationship with sensuality or sex, female sexual autonomy. To the same extent, I also believe it's super important to look into the relationship between men and sensuality. This is something I am exploring at the moment. How is it that we as men discover our own erotic power? Why is it that we only have a relationship with touch and intimacy that has to come with like an end point? I feel like so much of society is driven by this idea that like touch can only mean one thing for men, or like too much touch means a thing, or whereas I think we miss out on all the other levels or versions of touch that could just bring us a sense of peace. And in touch with ourselves, knowing ourselves that we can just be at peace and still on our own. So anyway, let's have a look at a couple of things Audre Lorde said, as well as James Baldwin. And then I'm just going to wrap it up, actually, because this is only supposed to be half an hour. But like I said, thank you all so much for being on this live. Next time will be smoother. That's a good point by Tandy there. A neurodivergence, touch has a different meaning, and I think that's very true. And that's something that can be explored. Obviously consent is the most important aspect of touch. But I guess, especially when I'm talking about men, a lot of the reason is men experiencing touch with themselves or understanding touch to be a spectrum, not only sexual. But yeah, some people don't like being touched, some people don't like being massaged, and that is a different conversation, to be honest. One I'd love to have, genuinely. So let me just do one little... Okay, yeah. So this is great. So Lord's writing on the body similarly illuminate teachings in the Theravada tradition. The 7 factors of awakening in the Theravada tradition state that awareness and investigation of the body, feelings, mind states, and dharma lead to energy and joy. Lord points to a similar progression in her experience of eroticism and joy. Lord says, another important way in which the erotic connection functions is the open and fearless underlining of my capacity for joy. In the way my body stretches to music and opens into response, hearkening to its deepest rhythms, so every level upon which I sense also opens to the erotically satisfying experience, whether it's dancing, building a bookcase, writing a poem, examining an idea. Right, that, I love the way Lord she swims through experiences that touch on multiple different senses, but her underlying point is, if I consider how all of these experiences touch me and make me feel, if I'm consciously aware of that, then I'm able to create a much stronger bond. That's essentially what she's saying. That, every level upon which I sense also opens to the erotically satisfying experience, whether it's dancing, right? Obviously with dancing, we can understand there being like an erotic nature to dancing, but the movement to a beat, like just moving the body, you actually generate life force. That's a real thing. That's for men and women. You see some guys on stage and they're just like building up this energy of movement and everyone loves it. Building a bookcase, DIY. Yeah, there's a sense, there's literally a build and an end point, but I guess we have to learn to enjoy the building of the bookcase. Writing a poem. For me, this is one thing I find with writing is when you reach that flow state, when I reach that flow state, I feel as though sometimes it's not even me writing the poem. And then I read it back and I'm like, whoa, the experience of channeling something out of my, whether it's the fingers or the writing, is like my thoughts are secondary if I'm really locked in. Examining an idea is really interesting. Erotic nature, examining an idea. How do I feel thinking about this? All super important questions. It says Gary Barlow 2004 just joined. If Gary Barlow's just joined, safe, bro. What are you saying? We've had a little drop off here. I think maybe people is it bedtime or something? I don't know what the time difference is. So you can understand how looking at life through us having connections that bring us pleasure, but they don't have to mean, they're not like what's the word I'm looking for? We can arise pleasure from drinking a coffee, like the whole process of drinking a coffee, go into the coffee shop, ordering a coffee, drinking it. The whole thing is about awareness, right? Again, I'd really recommend you guys read this book, but a lot of Buddhist practice is about awareness and consciousness, and not just doing things in autopilot, being fully aware of the joy and the sensuality that experiences can bring you. And I wonder a lot, I've spoken recently about men and loneliness and the fact that I don't feel as a man I've necessarily been taught how to be completely okay just sitting and doing something simple. I'm generalizing here. I mean, women will struggle with this too, especially if you've got ADHD. But yeah, I guess we look for attention because I think sometimes we're actually starved of it. But finding a way for all of our life experience to touch us and keep that conversation going is important. And then the more we are honest about what it is that's bringing us a feeling of connection, the more we're honest, like, I enjoy doing this, then I think the greater chance we have of creating the life that we want to live without it coming at the cost of how we feel, which is very, very difficult, by the way. It's not easy. I did want to find one little James Baldwin quote before we finish. But she's talking a lot about Audre Lorde here. James Baldwin, here we go. All right. Oh, there's a really cool thing here. One wing of two wings, all three British editions. Okay. For Baldwin, relying on mythological tales rather than cultivating an ability to look at reality directly fails to cultivate the stamina required for sustained dignity under assault. Okay, so Baldwin is basically saying, I promise this is going way over my time here, but for those of you who are still watching, big love to you. Baldwin was writing a lot in the 1960s. This was a very tumultuous time for race relations, for class relations, and he is claiming, I've just lost it, don't do this to me, that to be led astray by stories that are too abstract might not help us build enough inner worth and strength to be able to survive whatever assault we are under within the system that we're in. So stamina requires the capacity to look directly at suffering, including the fact of death. Right, this is another brilliant thing about Buddhism. The practice embraces suffering. That is something I think that we are led to believe is something we should avoid, when suffering can actually help us grow. This is a big part of being a human being, is embracing suffering. Life comes with a lot of suffering. So if we can change our perspective, but very controversial when talking about race. Indeed, myths, symbols, national identity, state violence, all of these facilitate a process of avoidance. But if human beings in the United States were to look directly at human suffering and accept ourselves as we are, Baldwin writes, we might bring new life. Indeed, it is only in the willingness to confront reality, to stare it in the face with insight and compassion, that human beings can embrace the whole of existence, including death. This is fire. This is fire. I'm ending the live on this, right? This is to look suffering in the face. This is something I've been talking about a lot recently. That is one of the bravest things you can do. If you get your heart broken, you try and love again. Like, this is the hardest thing you can do. There was some saying about like buffaloes or cows or something. I think like there's in storms, apparently if there's like a tornado or hurricane, cows run away, but buffaloes run into it because it's harder for a shorter period of time and then you're out the other side. Whereas if you're running from a storm, you're running for a long time. It's a dope principle. Just turn around and face the suffering. Like, that's the hardest thing to do. Oh my God, that's got me buzzed. I wish I'd found this earlier. I should have really found this earlier. But what a beautiful outlook. And also in society, we're terrified of death. Constantly terrified of death, like terrified of, we're extending our lives. Sometimes that's great, like healthy, live longer, brilliant. But, there's a real peace that comes with the idea that it's okay. We're like, as long as we're living in alignment with self, like maybe our time will come, I don't know. But we're scared of talking about death in society, that's for sure. So there's another quote here. Perhaps the whole root of our trouble, the human trouble, is that we will sacrifice all the beauty of our lives. We'll imprison ourselves in totems, taboos, crosses, blood sacrifices, steeples, mosques, races, armies, flags, nations, in order to deny the fact of death, which is the only fact we have. It seems to me that one ought to rejoice in the fact of death, ought to decide, indeed, to earn one's death by confronting with passion the conundrum of life. Oh, Baldwin. One is responsible to life. It is the small beacon in that terrifying darkness from which we come and to which we shall return. Can you imagine that? Yo, you the guy from Rizzle Kicks. I'm the guy from Rizzle Kicks. I should have put this in like some thing. Yes, it's me. So I'm ending on this because this is beautiful and I'm hoping we'll clip this bit up. That is what Baldwin is saying. One is responsible to life. It is the small beacon in that terrifying darkness from which we come and to which we shall return. Actually, I will say, I don't think it's a terrifying darkness. I personally think that we come from pure bliss and we end up in pure bliss. I think that is really it. We come from spirit, we end up in spirit. However, we are responsible to life, right? To earn one's death by confronting with passion the conundrum of life. Are we earning the right to go? That's the question I leave with you guys. Are you earning the right to go? Right? And that's a deep thing to say on the first life. I'm sorry we're talking about death, but that's it. This is in the book that I recommend you all read, okay? What book is that from? I've been pinning the title, but... Baldwin's writings on delusion, impermanence, death, dignity, love, and sensuality are deeply resonant for many teachers interviewed for this book. So it's interviewed, Black Buddhists and the Black radical tradition, the practice of stillness in Black liberation, in stillness in the movement for liberation. The practice of stillness in the movement for liberation, all right? Right, I've gone way over time. I'm sorry. Am I sorry? Maybe that's fine. I was told that I could do as much as I like. If you want to know more about this book club, please visit the Saint and Citizen Instagram page, okay? Subscribe to the Saints Book Club Substack, okay? So the link will be in my bio, someone's bio at some point. Our own little miss me, a little bit, but specifically about books. Thank you for joining me on this first streaming experience. I do want to do more streaming. It seems to be the new thing. For all of you who have maintained this whole life, I adore you with all my heart, and let's meet again next month. Big up Saint and Citizen every time. Like I say, log on to their Instagram, Saint and Citizen, and yeah, subscribe to the Substack. I think this will be on the Substack. The book was by Rima Vesely-Flad, and how amazing it would be if they saw this. I mean, yeah, only monthly smut, the sad face. Listen, this is just the beginning. If you guys bring enough energy to this whole vibe, I'm sure you can encourage people to do more. There's already discussions of how this would evolve. So, yeah, I'm buzzing. I think there was like a third section I was supposed to do to wrap up. And I can't remember what it is. So I'm just going to quickly look. I was given a brief. Right. So it was audience discussion was the end, but you guys, I've kind of been watching because it's impossible not to watch while we've been doing this. Potential books for the next club. So there have been some recommendations in the chat. So let me see what you guys say actually. Let me pin Saint and Citizen's comment first. Oh, that just says book Rima Vesely. We can do fiction, yeah, it doesn't have to be non-fiction. Your Brain on Love, Stan Tatkin. Oh my God, that changed my life. That's only an audio book though. I don't know if we can do that. Of Water and Spirit. Oh, what a book. I have indeed read Of Water and Spirit. Very trippy. Then we can just talk about magic for an hour. Yo. Do we do Of Water and Spirit next? I don't know. Let me see what other recommendations you got. Anything by Andrea Levy. Is a book called Anything, or is just anything by The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, also about death. Love that. My own book. Listen, I would love, maybe that's the last one. Shadow of the Wind. Eternally Bestie. Let's go. Or any of our books. Thanks, Kylie. Okay, cool. I've not read any of the James Bond books, to be honest, no. The Body Keeps the Score, great book. These are good recommendations. You have to stop recommending my books because at one point I will. Don't worry, I'll be The Prophet. I mean, listen, I would say the Prophet Khalil Gibran. I'm obsessed. I'm so late to the party. I'm sure a lot of you are late to the party, but actually, I didn't mean to be rude. Maybe you're not. But the Prophet by Khalil Gibran, I've actually got that physically. 2 seconds. Oh. Right. I picked this up in Sri Lanka. Oh, there you are. This is like a little gold version of it. But the reason why this book is beautiful is because, as someone said in the comments, you can pick it up and just read a little section. This one's on marriage. This one's on eating and drinking. And it's just like a game changer. Very easy to read. Maybe that'll be good for the next week, actually, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, because if you guys are struggling to read, which would be completely okay, then this is a really good place to start because it's short. And it's not too difficult to read, even though it's written 100 years ago. I'd say the language is pretty accessible. So, that's me. I'm done. I love you all. Big up Saint and Citizen. Thank you so much for listening to this. Words forever, books forever. Like, the word will never die. I promise you that. And this is one other thing I want to say, right? Books are dangerous. This is what annoys me. There's a real lack of young boys, especially, reading books because they think that it's like, well, they might be in school and they think it's like laborious. It's like a stress. It's a struggle to read, or like reading is always associated with like being forced to learn. Books are dangerous. Yeah. When fascists try and take over countries, the first thing they do is burn the books. So never let the words die. Right? Okay. I need to figure out how to save this live. Love.